Welcome back to my workshop. Now today you're probably here because you want to know about this, which is the Makita job site radio. Now I don't know anything about Makita stuff. Those of you that watch my channel know that I'm a Stanley Fatmax kind of guy. Okay, all the tools I've got are Stanley Fatmax. I've got a couple of Makitas. I've got a Sand Up, which is great. I did a video about it here. But let's have a look at this, which is Makita job site radio. Now, for those that want to know, it's an MR003GZ01. So that's what we're going to look at. I've got an older Makita site radio here to look at as well, just to make some comparisons to see if there's any improvements. So let's have a look at the box. Right, so as I say, I know very little about Makita stuff. All I know is it's quite good. But let's have a look at this. Right, this is the Makita job site radio. Now it looks like it can use all of these batteries. Now I don't know much about the Makita battery platform because, as I say, I'm on the Stanley Fatmax battery platform, okay? So I don't really know much about these batteries. Now, I've got one of the batteries, which I believe is an 18 volt one, which I borrowed just for this. But they do look like a 40 volt lithium ion maximum, 14.4 volt and a 12 volt battery. Okay, so these must all be different batteries, but apparently they all fit in this. Okay, now I don't know if it's a charger as well. I don't think it is, but we'll check the instructions when we get inside. Okay, so it does all of these batteries. It's IP65, which is its dust and water ingress protection. It must be quite good because obviously you're intending to use it on site. Okay, and it's got DAB Plus. Now I'll explain what that is in a little while. Okay, it's called a job site radio and it's the MR003GZ01. Okay, on the side here, doesn't tell you much more. It's pretty much exactly the same. Right, on the back here, same again. It shows you the different types of batteries here. These are the 40 volt ones, 14 volt and a 12 volt. Okay, they all slide in the back, which I'll show you in a moment. But it doesn't, it looks like here there's a battery range that it doesn't actually support. Now I think these are the G batteries. Is there a G series battery? I don't know. We'll check and see if it says anything in the instructions. So not much else on the outside of the box. So let's have a look what's on the inside of the box. Okay, so straight out of the box, this is what you get. You get the radio and you get a set of instructions. I believe the charger is in the back here. That's what the picture said. Yes, it looks like we've got an empty box. And we've got this, which I assume is the charger. Okay, we'll have a look at that in a moment. Right, so look at the charger. Empty box. So what we'll do is we'll look at the charger first, have a quick flick through the instructions. I'll read those so I can give you the information you need. And then we'll look at that and we might make a comparison between that one and that one. Okay, so the charger's nothing to write home about. It's a Makita one. Gives you a part number there. Input 100 to 240 volts. Output 12 volts, 1 amp or 12 watts. So nothing special about that. It's got this on the end, which should obviously fit. Looks like it fits in the side here. Okay, we'll have a look at that in a moment. How much lead do we get? Let's have a look. All right, just quickly measured the lead here. It's almost 2 meters long, so that'll be quite handy on site. So you can put your radio near whatever power supply you're going to be using. 2 meters should be more than enough. Right, let's have a quick look at instructions. Right, I've had a quick look through these so you don't have to read through them. Job site radio MR003G. Now there's a picture at the front here which shows you all the components on the actual radio itself, which one's which, shows you how to open and close the compartment, where to put the batteries, the different types of batteries, and then obviously it covers a little bit about batteries here, about the light indication levels. This drawing, okay, has got a key which is explained here, and it covers everything from the antenna, so battery compartment, battery, blah blah blah, DC socket in, power supply. So anything on there, if you don't know what it is, refer to this list here. It goes on a lot about batteries, so you don't really need to know about that. Then this table may be handy for you, but you'll get to know it after you've started using it. It shows you which batteries you've got and in how long it should last. I'm just struggling to get this out. Right, I've got this one, which I borrowed off someone because it's not a Stanley Fatmax one. It's a Makita one. It's an 18 volt, 3 amp hour, BL1830. Now, if we look at our little list here, 3 amp hour, BL1830, it should last for 16 hours. Now, that's a long time. I think I'm reading that right, but 16 hours. So that's good for a couple of days maybe, but that's on a fully charged battery. Okay, obviously smaller batteries don't last as long. Obviously if you start cranking it up, then it's going to last even less time. It gives you some instructions on installing and removing the batteries, plugging in the AC adapter, listening to the radio, and a bit about the display, but we can have a look at that in a moment. A few miscellaneous settings here, storing stations. Okay, so this is probably handy to keep when you first get it for setting it up. And finally, the specifications which you might want a quick look at. Okay, AC power adapter, 12 volt, 1 amp, center pin positive. So that's just telling you that on this here, the 12 volts is in the middle pin. Okay, just in case you want to know. Battery, slide battery, 10.8 volts to 36 volts. Okay, so that's just the different types of batteries. Frequency coverage, it shows you what frequencies on FM and DAB. DAB and DAB plus. Okay, again, I'll explain what DAB plus is in a minute. Compatible DAB and DAB plus. Circuit features. Loudspeaker, 3.5 inches. Okay, so this is the speaker on the side here. Okay, 3.5 inches, 32 ohms, and there's 2 of those. Output power, okay, we've got the 18 volt, so 4.9 watts times 2. So each speaker is 4.9 watts. That should be loud enough, obviously, for most work sites. Input terminal, so this is for your auxiliary. You don't get this wire with it. It's a 3.5mm diameter auxiliary in. Okay, and all that's talking about is one of these plugs or one of these wires. Okay, I've got one here. Okay, so that's a 3.5mm jack plug. Okay, if you want to use an external device, then you'll need to get one of these separately, but this doesn't come with the radio. I'll show you that in a minute. Antenna system is a built-in antenna. I'll show you that in a moment. Dimensions 278 by 170 times 298 millimeters. Okay, that's about the size of it. Weight 4.2 kilograms. Okay, but you don't care because once you get on site, you're going to plonk it down and then that's going to be it. Right, that's enough of the boring stuff. Let's get the actual radio and have a look. Right, so straight off the bat, this is a good looking radio, I must admit. I mean, if you bought that on site, people would look at it and go, oh, that's nice, I'll have that. So you'd have to be careful no one nicks it. Okay, right, Makita on the top here. Now, this is the black one. I think they do various colours, just like the old one. I mean, this old one here, that obviously used to be white, but now it's a nice, not so white. Okay, we'll have a comparison of that in a moment. At the top here, you've got your power buttons, band, advanced info. Then you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now these are for pre-programmed radio stations. It tells you it's DAB plus. You've got your main control here, which is a push button and a twisty knob. Okay, and an auto tune here. Okay, it tells you what it is. Volume and push is for tuning select. That's very simple at the front. On the front here, you've got your auxiliary in. There's nothing in that part there. Okay, so your auxiliary in there. You've got protection bars on the front, okay, just in case you hit it with something, you know, if you're carting stuff around the site, that will stop the face getting broken. Obviously, you've got your LCD here, so that's enough on the front. On the right hand side, again, raised Makita here. XGT, whatever that means. I think that's probably the battery type. LXT and CXT. Now, if you're a Makita man, you'll know exactly what that means. I'm not, so I don't. Okay, and down here, you've got your DC, your 12 volt DC in. Okay, that's where the power supply plugs into. Okay, power supply just plugs in there. That's easy enough. Okay, I'll take that out for a minute. Your speaker here, and then obviously on the other side, you've got your other speaker, but there's no inputs on this side. On the back, you've got just the model number here, which is the MR003G, and it tells you the batteries that it takes. Okay, 36 volt, 14.4 and 10.8. Okay, so you can see straight away from that which batteries are comparable. Okay, now other inputs on the back. On the top, you've got a handle. Now apparently the antenna is built into the handle. Okay, so the antenna is actually built into this, whereas on the older model you had this wibbly wobbly antenna. If you got that on the site, I'm surprised that hasn't broken off, but this is a much more elegant idea. If you look at this one, at some point the handle's broken off, so on that one that would be a disaster. So if you ever put it down, put the handle down, because it will break and you'll end up with no radio. On the back here is where the batteries go. Okay, you release the top. Now it covers that in the instructions and it says don't catch your fingers, but I'm sure if you work on site you're not that silly. Okay, and the whole back flips down. Let's have a close look in there. Right, so I'm going to go a bit handheld here, so it might be a bit shaky. Right, so the back flips down. Okay, and in here is where your different types of batteries go. Let's get you focused. Okay, one battery there, or one battery there, and one battery there. Now the battery we've got, which is obviously this one, okay, which is the BL1830. Where does that go? Does it go in this one? No, so it must go in this one. And that's all that happens. You slot those in, then you can shut the back up and lock it. Then you don't have to worry about that at all. Looking at that, that takes these three different types of batteries. I presume this is the 40 volt one, and this is the, whatever it was, 10 volts. Now quickly comparing it to the older one. Now the older radio is obviously the same style, but in there, this is where this battery went, okay, as the main player. But also down the bottom here, it had these ones, which if you've got any older Makita stuff, it may have suited that, okay? So these older type batteries, and this one doesn't support, okay, but this one does. All right, so that's just to let you know the type of batteries. Oh, I'll move that out of the way. Okay, what else we got on the back here? Look in here, there's a little USB connector. Now that is used for updating your radio. Okay, so there may be software updates in the future, and to get those you need to go to the Makita site, and then you put them in here, and then by magic it does it, but you'd have to look at that on the Makita site. Right, I've got battery in there. I'm going to shut this up and we get to the front and start pushing some buttons. I haven't read the instructions in detail, so a lot of this we're going to make it up as we go along. As you would do on site, you put your battery in, now push, scanning. Right, as you see, in the top corner up here, it showed how many channels it had found. So that had found about 150 channels. That's where this DAB Plus comes into play. Okay, the DAB Plus is just the same as DAB, apart from the encoding is much better. So obviously you can get better quality and more channels. That's what the DAB Plus is, just in case you was wondering. Right, you probably can't see it on the camera there, but that is actually still a light. Okay, so even though the backlight goes off, it's still alive. Okay, if you push any button, what happens is that will come up again. It shows you all the channels it's got. Oh look, there's loads. Radio 1, Radio 3, blah blah blah, and this goes on forever. Right, so if I wanted to save any one of these channels onto these buttons here, it's a simple case of you select the channel you want. So we'll go for BBC Radio 1, okay? But make sure you actually select the channel first, okay? So BBC Radio 1, so hopefully that will be playing. I can't turn it up because of the music. And then once you're actually playing, push and hold, it says P1 saved. Okay, we go on to another channel. We'll go on to Radio 5 Live. Okay, so I select Radio 5 Live and then push and hold P2 saved. Okay, so then those two are then saved. So if I want to go back to any of those, 1, Radio 1, 2, Radio 5 Live. Okay, so you've got 5 presets you can select, and that's probably the easiest way to do it. Okay, across the top here you've got your on-off button, which we've already covered. You've got your band, which changes to FM, DAB P2, FM, DAB P2. So it just scrolls between both of those. Again, can we save that? Let's pick a channel. I don't know what channel this is. Right, 91.3, push and hold. That's saved. So there's an FM channel saved. Okay, and we'll save another one. 95.3, select that, which is BBC Essex, and saved. Okay, so then we should be able to scroll, yeah, between the two. Okay, so that's the FM. Now, what we want to do is play something using the auxiliary input, okay, which, as you remember, is down here. Let's plug something in there and see if it works. So that way you can listen to how good it is. Okay, so there's no Bluetooth on this one. It's auxiliary in, okay, which is probably handy because then your phone won't go flat. What I've got over here is my little Alexa. Yeah, she's there. Okay, I won't get her to play music, but I'll get her to tell us a joke. Now, all you do is you plug in your auxiliary into the front there. Now, make sure you get a decent lead because there's some real rubbish ones about. Then all you do, push band, and it'll go auxiliary in. Okay, so now whatever comes out of this thing will come out of here. So let's give it some volume. Alexa, tell me a joke.
Did you hear about the fire at the circus? It was intense.
Aha, aha, aha. Okay, so that played from her to this and it came out of speakers. So if you're on site, you could use your phone, or if you've got one of these, you could use that, and then that way you can just voice command, Alexa, what's 200 plus 961?
200 plus 961 is 1161.
Okay, so it's got its benefits. You could use that. That might help. All right. Okay, so that's the auxiliary in. If you pull it out, straight away, it takes you back to your radio.
Molly, thank you very much for that. Coming up, we're going to bring you second half commentary of Serbia.
That was loud. That's pretty much it. Now let's have another quick comparison between this new one and the old one. So obviously comparing the new one with the old one. Now this old one's obviously got some battle scars on it. This front protection rail here has obviously done its job at some point and it's broken. Obviously covered in rubbish now. You could clean it up, but this one you'll be more tempted to clean it up. Right, as I said, the antenna is now in the handle, okay, whereas before it had this one here. The back opens in a similar manner. This looks slightly more robust than the old one, okay, but this looks like it's seen some action and that hasn't broken. this supports the older type batteries and this type of battery. This one obviously supports the newer type batteries. What we'll do is we'll quickly take that out just to check to make sure it works with a power supply. What else have we got? Ugh. Oh, wibbly wobbly. Okay, so there's differences, but the main controls are the same. You've got your main tuner and volume control. Main buttons at the top, storing buttons here. This one's got auto tune and this one's got auto tune. So very similar between both of them. All right, let's quickly plug in the power supply here, just to prove that it works without a battery. Okay, lucky it's got this 2 meter lead here because my plug's over here, and I've got this on the table saw here. So we'll just plug that in, and we should be good to go. Yep, we're alive. Okay, welcome Makita. Okay, just before we finish, I haven't covered these two buttons here. Obviously we've got your on and off and our band, which does DAB, FM and auxiliary in. The advanced one basically goes, it gives you your options. So you got your backlight and then twiddling this knob. Okay, we'll go on to languages, factory reset, software upgrade, software version, and then back to backlight. And all you do is, I'll come out a little bit so you can see what's happening. Okay, so if I want to select this backlight, advanced, so backlight, push the button, and you can either say on, twist this, off. Okay, so you saw it before. As soon as we stopped playing with it, the backlight went off. But if I leave it on, select, okay, then it goes back to your previous screen. Same again with languages, software upgrade, software version. We just have a quick push of that. It tells you what version it is then, so you can check to see if it needs a software upgrade. And to come out of that, just push your advance again. Okay, and the info button here, if you're playing any of the DAB channels, push the info and it will tell you information about the actual tune that's playing now. 40k BPS, that's the 40 kilobytes per second, that's the sampling rate of the music, and it's on DAB+. Push info again. Okay, it gives you a little bar. Okay, so, and it tells you details about the song. So it's Dr. Dre featuring Snoop Dogg. All right, those are the sort of things you will probably never use. You just want it to make some noise when you're on site. Right, now that's it. That's enough, Frank. Shut up. Right, I think that'll just about do it. Okay, this is a Makita site radio. It's the MR003GZ01. This costs about £126 on Amazon. That's today, which is the beginning of September 2025. I think it looks really good. It should be a good replacement for this. Okay, this obviously demonstrates that these bars work because it's taken a bit of a battering and it hasn't actually broken. This has got the same bars, but it's also got the antenna in the handle. It looks smart. Okay, if you turn up on site with that, everyone's going to want one. Okay, and just make sure no one takes it. Right, I think that'll do. I think this is going to be great. Hope you learned something from this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Alexa, say goodbye.
Goodbye.